Welcome to Ecstatic Yoga. I am Grace. I have this new camera. Actually looks better. Picture. Wow. And it won't be so messy. We are going to be practicing a Surya Namaskara Sun Salutation C with some modifications and variations. So let's begin our class. And remembering as we go through this class, because it has a little more effort, more than a yin class, of course, is that we will, anytime we experience pain, back off immediately. Anytime you need a break, listen to your body, honor your body, and take a break. We can be in the middle of a sequence and holding a pose, and you just need a break. Honor your body. We like to play the edge, so we're not on the couch as a loosey-goosey couch potato, but we're not stretching and forcing and striving so hard that we might pull a muscle. We're right in the middle there, like around a 7. So honoring that edge and just honoring your body. We'll be using the bandhas. So Mula Bandha is the pelvic floor. We'll be engaging and lifting the pelvic floor. Uddiyana Bandha is the abdomen here. And that will be active, and there'll be a lift to that. And Jalandhara Bandha, the chin comes in and the tongue is on the roof of the mouth. Let's begin. Finding a nice comfortable seat. I'm on a little cushion here. I have it on the back end of my buttocks here, just on the edge of those sits bones and the tail to bring that pelvis neutral. And you can be sitting flat on the floor. That's one of my favorites. Whatever is comfortable for you. We're going to dive inside, close the eyes, dive inward into the inner being, and breathing into the belly, and take a moment to scan the physical body. Just noticing how the physical body is now. And we always do it with unconditional love, non-judgments. Just honoring the body. Where is it at? Giving it attention, noticing that connection to the earth, how your body feels, where it is in time and space. Ecstatic yoga is sacred embodiment. We recognize the eternal aspect of ourselves, that infinite presence. It's having this temporary experience, and this body is that temporary vehicle. It's not what we are or who we are. We are animating through it. We're also not our thoughts or our feelings. Those also pass through. There is an eternal, ever-present awareness, witness, observer. That is that eternal self that has possibly had many lives. This is just one play that we're in of many, many experiences available. And diving inward into Pratyahara, noticing this inner universe, this soul presence, this aliveness within us, this Atman, this inner guru, because this is an eternal aspect of ourselves with higher wisdom and knowledge than just the body and brain. Basking in that inner nectar for a breath or two. And checking in with that manomaya kosha, that emotional body. Where are the emotions at this moment in time? Just noticing what's surging through, not identifying with the emotions, not judging them, not even needing to title them. That's the intellectual part. We're basking in the felt sense, letting him, bring them on, leaning into them, all those emotions. Keeping the breath in the belly. And taking this moment to set an intention for yourself, a gift you can give yourself, something you want to intend towards, an intention, making it in the positive and the present as if it already is, and taking a breath or two to bask in those emotions, that emotional benefit of the intention. And then releasing that intention with a this or better, this or better, this or better, and coming back. And we are going to come up to a standing position. So we're going to do our Surya Namaskara with some variations and modifications. I think I'll turn this brighter light on just to see. It can't be too much if this camera has its own little light. Doesn't make too much of a difference. So let's just shake it all out. Shake it out. Legs, the arms, and some twists. Waking up that spine a little bit. And a little bit of cross crawl. We'll start with just right leg, arm to leg, opposite arm and hand. And then we can add a little extra, bringing in the shoulder. This integrates the right and left brain. And we can also do the feet. This is something you want to do before you're going to take a big test or something to really integrate the brain. It's called brain gym. And let's do our breath of joy. So our first inhale is going to bring the arms both shoulder length. Second, bring them all the way out, opening the heart. Third, all the way up. And then we're going to bend the knees and exhale down. And let's together. We like to do a little bounce with the knees. One more time. And staying in your forward fold for a minute, feeling the sensations. And let's come up with a round back, one vertebrae at a time, nice and slowly, a little string of pearls in that spine, having the upper thoracic and then the cervical and the neck muscles, neck spinal processes bring our head up. Finally, to a nice position, and here we are. So we're going to do Surya Namaskara. I'm going to face you for our mountain. So we're in our mountain. Not a lot of variations or modifications in mountain, but I love to add the Anusara, John Friends, loops and spirals into the mountain to get us into a really good posture. The other day I was with a friend and He's a little older than me, and I hadn't seen him in a while, and I noticed that even just a short time, a few months, maybe 6 months since I seen him, he's starting to slouch more. And if as we age, if we're not holding the correct posture, gravity is going to really, if we're holding it out, it's going to just slowly and slowly, you see some people that are just hunched over, and that's gravity because we're not in getting our bodies into correct posture, so that these loops will help us to get into posture. So the first is the ankle loop, and that's a lift of the arches. And I like to lift the toes. That lifts my arches up and then rest them down. And shin loop, we engage the calves. The energy moves up the calves and down the shins. Thigh loop, it's just below the knee. So you're going to feel a lift of the knee as it comes up. You're going to feel the quadriceps engage. And then it goes back down behind the hamstrings, the back of the thigh. And then pelvic loop, we're just going to bring that pelvis into neutral. I always need to tuck that tail under a little bit with the pelvic loop. Kidney loop, a lift of the ribs. Shoulder loop comes up right between the lips, brings the chin parallel to the floor, goes back. So the shoulders are going to go back and then drops down. You feel the shoulder blades together a little bit. And then skull loop, feeling a lift of the skull, and it just lengthens the whole body. And then the spiral, so the upper leg and the upper arm spirals in just slightly. And then as we inhale in our mountain and we bring our arms up, we're going to feel a nice little outer spiral in the upper arm. And then let's inhale, extending into our mountain, maybe even bringing a little back bend in. Coming back to neutral, stick that tailbone out a little and hinging forward, hinging at the hips. And this is where, let me get these blocks. We can do a nice modification for forward fold is to have these blocks here. So you can have blocks. You can also bend the knees as much as you need to. If you need to bend the knees, if you don't have blocks and you need to get down onto the ground, you can bend those knees. And then relaxing and releasing the head. And a few variations with your forward fold is you can grab your elbows. You can bring the hands to the side, to the back of the body. And we'll go into a few more on our next round of Surya Namaskara. And then I'm going to take that right leg back behind me into lunge. Now again, you can use your blocks here for your lunge. There's a few variations with the lunge, Ajane Asana. So here we have the blocks. That's a nice modification, variation. You can also just stay in low lunge. You can just stay down in low lunge or stay down with your blocks. Or you can, of course, drop your knee into a real low lunge. So, or you can come up into a high lunge. My back thigh is engaged, my knees over the ankle, and I'm going to square those hips. So this right leg has brought my right hip back a little. I'm going to square it so they're facing forward. Engaging the bandhas, and let's breathe. One more breath. And exhaling down into your downward facing dog. Here we are. Tailbone is coming up. Heels and heart are coming down towards the earth. Fingers are spread. A slight inward rotation in the upper arm, or external rotation in the upper arm. The arms are above my head, so I do external rotation. And breathe, engage those bandhas and breathe. Now there's a few variations with your downward facing dog. And I like to, when we go into down dog, I like to have my students always hold the pose for a breath or two and just feel the dog and really feel the sensations and that thigh going back, tailbone going up, heart coming down towards the earth, head between the hands, fingers spread. And then you can move into some variations. So you can move into walking the dog, where you bring one heel down, opposite knee bends in. And we'll move into some more. Now a variation for this, if you have trouble with your wrists, is you can come down. It's more of a dolphin. You can bring your forearms down to the earth. I think it's easier this way. And we're going to move into a plank. Now with our plank, losing my shirt here. The plank, of course, the most obvious modification is to drop those knees. You can always put a blanket under knees. You can always invite students to put a blanket under the knees. And we're going to come down nice and slow. So we're going to bend the elbows. We're going to come down nice and slow. Just before we get to the floor, we're going to come up into up dog. We'll do cobra next time. And then you can either have the thighs resting on the earth, or I have my thighs engaged and just above the mat. Engaging those bandhas and breathe. Open heart, shoulders are back. One more breath. And on the exhale, curling those toes under and moving back into our downward facing dog. And here we are in our dog again. Tailbone lifting up, thighs back, heels and heart coming towards the earth, engaging the bandhas and breathe. And then lifting the head, lifting the heart, picking that right leg up. Now a variation for this, or modification, is you can take steps. You can even invite students to use their hand to help that foot up. It takes time to get all these practices, and new people just need a little help. And then you can bend that knee so it's right over the ankle. You can either be in a low lunge, or you can come up into a high lunge. We'll show even more variations next time. Engaging the bandhas and breathe. Inhaling into the fingertips. Exhaling those hands down to the mat, and bring that back foot up, back into our beautiful Uttanasana, forward fold, and breathe. And then we missed our half forward fold coming up. I don't know how we did that, but we're going to come up into half forward fold or table and feel that back and that spine extending away from the body. The head reaching out away from the body. It feels good. And the variation is to bring the hands to the mat. Everybody likes a different way. I enjoy this a little better. I feel the stretch more when I stretch the body out. And exhaling back down into your Uttanasana. And then on your next inhale, we're going to lift the head, lift the heart, coming all the way up, back into our mountain. We're going to do a little half moon, side to side stretching. And just finding your own pace, your own rhythm here. Keeping that breath flowing. And coming back to center, moving into a slight back bend. Deep inhale, and on the exhale. Now the variations for forward fold with the hands is you can bring the hands straight down the core of the body. You can have the hands on the hips. Stick the tailbone out and hinge. Just never out here, because that puts a lot of pressure on this lower back. And of course, the angel wings, which is always my favorite. And here we are in our forward fold. Option to use the block. Another option is, and you can use a block with this, or you can just use the earth. You can bring the hand right between the legs and then opposite arm up to add a little twist into your Uttanasana. So let's take a couple breaths here. And inhale, reaching up into the fingertips. And exhale, switching the hands and opening up to the opposite side. Inhale, reaching up and bringing that hand down onto the mat. And we're going to move into our half forward fold. We're not going to forget this time. Feeling that nice stretch on the back. Remembering, and also come down, have the hands touching floor. And exhaling back into your Uttanasana. And then we can take that right leg back behind us. Now, we go into our variations, our second round. We usually drop that knee. We'll do that on the third one. But for right now, I'm going to show you another variation. If you come up, and you can do this with the knee down or the knee up. And that is, I'll show you on the knee down first. And that's adding a little twist too. So we come and we're going to make a prayer position. I'm kind of facing the wrong direction for this. Prayer position with the hands as we twist. So let's do that. I'll show you on the other side so you can see a little better. Twist. And then if you're on high, there you are. It's a nice variation for the lunge. I'm going to go back to the other side. I just wanted you to see. Taking a couple breaths here. Back thigh engaged. And then coming back to center. And we're going to bring the hands back down to the mat and take that left leg back. And here we are in our downward facing dog. And I like to just always walk that dog. Coming back to neutral, taking a nice breath in down dog, feeling the pose. And a nice variation for the down dog. Now, when you're down dog, you can, like I said, you can bring the elbows down and you can also be in table. That's a variation. If your down dog's too much, you can drop those knees and be in table. If you're in your nice down dog, you can take that right leg back and move into three-legged dog. It's a nice balancing pose. Let's engage the bandhas and breathe. One more breath. And releasing the foot down, and we'll go to the other side. So let's kick out that left leg. Nice strong arms, fingers spread in spider grip. And breathe. Bandhas are engaged. One more breath. And releasing that leg down. We'll move into chaturanga. So I'll drop the knees this time and show you coming down. Coming down nice and slowly because we're going to be working these arm muscles as we come down, building strength in the arms. And we're going to come down all the way to the mat this time. Make sure the elbows are in. And then there's some variations. Let's go into baby cobra first. So we're going to have the hands beside, right? Just in front of the shoulders. They're nice and snug into the body. And we're going to press that pelvis into the earth as we inhale and lift the head and the heart. And breathe. The hands are just for stabilization. You're using your back muscles. And releasing down. And I like to come into a table first. And whenever you bring anyone into table, there's a lot of variations. There's our cat-cow. Inhaling as you arch the back and stick the tailbone and lift the head. Chest is open to receive the oxygen. Exhale as you going to close down those lungs a little bit as you round the back, tuck the tailbone under, exhaling in cat. Going back and forth at your own pace. Start to add some variations. When you get into your cat, you can bring those hips back, stretching the back, making some circles with the hips, keeping the breath flowing. And coming back to center. We'll show you a few more balancing table and threading the needle in our next round. And we're going to curl the toes under, move back up into our downward facing dog. Taking a nice deep breath in the dog. And a nice variation with this is bringing the knee into the nose and then kicking that leg back up into three-legged dog. Or you can come into different places like the elbow and then kick that leg back up into the opposite elbow. Kick that leg back up or straight again in towards the nose. We'll do that on the other side. Bringing that knee in towards the nose and kicking. This was the wrong shirt to wear this morning. I'm going to tuck it in. That'll solve all that problem. And then taking that into the elbow, each elbow. Back into three-legged dog. Back to the center. And back. And if we had used our left foot first and then our right foot, when we're in our dog, we can just swoop that leg right back in front. And now I have my right foot in front rather than back. And we're going to move into that variation coming up into our high lunge. A little twist, prayer position. Nice variation. Engage the bandhas and breathe. One more breath. Coming back to center. Remember, you can do this at that as a low lunge. Coming down and bringing that back leg up to the front into Uttanasana. Forward fold. Relaxing in here. You do some of the side to side. Doing that nice twist. We're getting some twists in as well as back bends and forward folds. We're just grabbing the shoulders, finding your variation that feels good for you. You might just want to rest in Uttanasana. On your next inhale, coming halfway up, extending that spine. Exhaling back down. On your inhale, lifting that head first, always lifting the head, letting the head and the heart guide you up, finding the variation for your hands. And we'll move into another Surya Namaskara with some more variations and then one to breath. So here we are, and we can do our half moon. And some people just like to go side to side with the hands on the waist. So finding what works best for you. And then back bend, you can bring the hands to the small of the back, opening up the chest. If you prefer and be in an extended mountain, you can just open the chest here. Breathing into the belly. And coming back to center. And then we're going to exhale into our Uttanasana, finding your variation with your hands. Having fun with the hands right on the hips here. Coming all the way down. And here we are in Uttanasana. One thing I love to do when I'm in Uttanasana is just very gentle head shakes. So just relax that, release and relax that neck and all those muscles in the neck. Just a gentle yes or no, no or yes. Very gentle, honoring your body, your neck, your anatomy. Engaging the bandhas and keeping the breath flowing. Of course, you can bring your hands in the different variations that feel good. On your next inhale, coming up into your half forward fold or table. Finding your variation, whatever works best for you. Exhaling back down into Uttanasana. We're going to take that right leg back and we are going to drop the knee. So you should be familiar by now with this variation, low lunge rocks. I want to show you another variation with this. One is you just, instead of going into rocks first, you can just go into a low lunge. Remember, you can always invite people to put a blanket under their knee if they need. I'm going to bring that knee back just a little bit and drop that pelvic down. So finding what works for you, feeling that nice hip opening and just resting a few breaths in here. You can either keep the head in alignment with the spine or you can bring the head up to look forward. Those are a couple options. It's always the option, especially if you have neck injuries, is to keep that head in alignment with the spine. You don't need to be twisting and gazing up towards your hands or lifting ahead. You can keep that in alignment with the spine. That is a modification that you always have. Now another modification here is blaster pose. So you can take this outer hand, my left hand is on the outside, and bring it on the in. So both hands are on the inside. My left foot is on the outer, my right knee back. And of course, feel those hips drop down and breathe. And coming back. And then we can move into our lunge rocks. So you can lunge forward as you bend that knee, and then lunge back as you straighten that front leg. You can do a little flexing and extending of the foot to bring different sensations. Keeping the breath flowing and finding your pace, allowing yourself to move into a moving meditation, adding any little micro movements or spontaneous movements that feel good as you go. Basking in the sensations, fully present to the body. And the mind starts racing off into thought. Just kindly and gently bring it back to the body. And coming back to neutral. And then you can take this left leg back. And now we're in our table again. And I'll show you a couple more variations for table. And one is a balancing table. So once you're in the table, the wrists are right underneath the shoulders. Fingers are spread apart just a little bit. You can have that middle finger pointing forward. Knees are under the hip. They're hip width apart. And with your balancing table, we're going to lift the right arm. Weight is on the left and the left leg. And you can look forward or you can keep that head in alignment with the spine. Engage the bandhas and breathe. One more breath. And releasing down. Beautiful job. We'll go to the other side. Lifting that left arm up and the right leg. We're going to be extending the right arm away from the body and the left leg away from the body. Engaging the bandhas and breathe. One more breath. And releasing down. Beautiful job. We're going to do the other variation as we get out of down dog next time. But you can always come at this point whenever you're in table. There's always a variation, an option to come down into child's pose. So let's take a couple breaths in child's pose. Hands can be extended out or alongside the body. Knees open. You can rest that belly in between the knees and breathe. And on your next inhale, coming up. And we're going to curl those toes under. Pressing into the toes and the hands back into our down dog. Hips are lifted and heart and heels are coming towards the earth. Tailbones coming up towards the heavens. Thighs are back. Strong arm. The upper arm has a slight external rotation for stability. And breathe. Beautiful. And I am going to do a wild thing. That's an option when you're in down dog. I'm going to bring maybe a little more room here. So I'm going to kind of come off my mat. That wall there. I'm going to kick that right leg out behind. Let's just do the hip opener. So we're going to do a little hip opener. And then on the other side, when we come back, we'll do the wild thing. So variation is when you kick that leg into downward facing dog, you're going to bend the knee and then both hands firmly on the mat, opening up the hip in the side body. Feels really good in the hip. It's a nice hip opener. And engage the bandhas and breathe. And one more breath. And releasing down. And let's do that to the other side. So we're going to kick the left leg up, bend that knee, opening up to the left. And breathe. Bond is active. One more breath. And on the exhale, releasing down. And we're going to move into our chaturanga. So here we are into a nice push-up position. And a variation for this is actually push-ups. So let's do a few push-ups. You can come down to your knees and do low push-ups, or you can be up high and do high push-ups. And we're using that arm strength. And just maybe it's one or two. When you're ready, just coming down to the mat and relaxing onto the earth. And we're going to do a little fitness thing and after this practice. I'm going to start doing a daily one. And a nice thing, a nice variation, a nice option is to just rest on the earth and invite your students to turn their head to one side or the other and relax on the earth. They can even look straight ahead and have them switch sides at any time if their neck starts to feel any tension. What I like to do when down on the earth like this is I like to guide the students through a nice meditation. So if you want to just relax your head in whatever position feels right. Invite you to connect deeply with the earth, noticing all the parts of the body that are connected to the earth. And imagine that your body is a sponge. And invite the earth to offer anything that your physical body, your energy body, your emotional body may need at this time. Offering it up so you can soak in those energies, soak in that goodness. And it may be vitamins or minerals that come directly from the earth. It may be wisdom, information, knowledge that your body may need. It may be some healing or restoring that the body may need. Invite the earth to just soak up whatever your body may need and enjoy that earth energy as it floods every molecule, every cell of your body, bringing vitality, life force, energy into this physical body, this physical being, this sacred body temple. I'm going to join you for a breath or two. In concluding with sending the earth gratitude for everything that all your needs that it meets, the food, offering the food your body needs. Your houses are made of earth energy from trees. Your cars are made of earth energy from metals and rocks, and everything that we provides us beautiful support, whether it's our bicycle, our animals. Without the earth and the food and the opportunity and the beauty that we get to experience, we couldn't live this physical life without that earth energy and have this earth body, because every molecule in our body was once in the earth. Even my clothing, the clothing that you wear is from the earth, the cotton, the hemp, whatever it is, it's eventually comes from the earth. People say animals, when we eat animals, well, the animals eat the grass, and then, it's a cycle of life. I don't eat much any meat anymore, so very little. But we'll come back to center, and now let's do one more variation while we're here. So it's because it's called locust, but it's also, I like to call it bird or airplane. So we're going to bring the arms out to the sides. Feet are just in back, hip width apart. And we set the foundation first always. So pressing that pelvis, those hips into the earth, feeling that pelvis pressing into the earth. And as you inhale, lifting the legs and the arms, the head and the heart. Locust, bird, and just imagining. It could be a bird flying above the earth. And breathe. Active bandhas. And one more breath. Lifting up a little higher on the inhale and releasing on the exhale. And let's push back into a child's pose for a minute, stretching that lower back. And coming back up to our table. Curling those toes under, lifting those hips as you press into the toes and the hands back into your downward facing dog. And first take a breath here as you feel the heels and heart come down towards the earth and the tailbone reaching up to the sky. Thighs are back, heads between the arms. Engage the bandhas and breathe. Beautiful. And I'm going to show you the wild things. So let's see, I'm going to move over a little bit. So I have plenty of room. Now, this is something that you only want to do if you've practiced and you're comfortable with it. Listen to your own body. So we're going to lift that right leg up. You can bend the knee, open up the side body. We've already done that. And then you bring in the weight in. My right leg is lifted, so I'm going to bring the weight into my left hand and left foot. As I open up, reach the right arm out and bring the leg back and into the wild thing. And breathe. One more breath. It's pretty easy to hold once you're here. It's getting into it. And then coming back, bringing the arm back, leg up. And we'll go to the other side. Move back onto the mat for this. Lifting that leg up. Bending that left knee. Opening up the left side body. And lifting that left arm. Bringing the left leg back into a beautiful wild thing. And breathe. One more breath. And coming back. Bringing the hand to the mat, coming all the way back around into your downward facing dog. And we're going to inhale that right leg up. We're going to drop that back knee. We're going to move into those lunge rocks again. I'm going to bring the knee back just a little bit. Sink those hips forward. And as I rock back, straightening the front leg. Some flexing and extending of the foot. I love doing that because it just brings different sensations into the legs, getting us more and more embodied. So our soul power can be more empowered in this sensory equipment that we're so blessed to have. It's biological body temple. Moving back and forth in your lunge rocks. Yoga is to yoke. It's to bring all aspects of your being into one. We're having this temporary physical experience in this body temple, sacred embodiment, but we don't identify with just the body. We identify with ourselves as that eternal soul presence, soul power. Keeping the breath flowing. But we want to give it our 100% during this temporary experience. Give it our best effort. Use this experience to our best advantage, because the soul grows, the soul learns through a physical experience. So let's move into that variation of blaster. We're going to bring both hands on the inside of this right foot and lunging down, bringing those hips down, feeling the different sensations. And in blaster, you can also bring the forearms down if you want to deepen it a little bit. One more breath. And inhale, coming up. Beautiful job. What I like to do with that back foot to get back into forward fold is to curl the back toes under, lift that back leg up, and that's when you can walk, step, or jump that foot right forward. Now I'm in Uttanasana, and beautiful forward fold, finding your variation. Inhaling halfway up. Nice deep breath here. Coming back down. A bit an option is to yes, no the head. That neck holds a lot of tension. And then inhaling to lift the head first, always the head first, the heart. Arms coming all the way up, moving into a back bend. We're going to do one more to breath, and we're going to skip the chaturanga and move right into an up dog, into breath. So let's inhale into our mountain. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Slow, deep, long breaths. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, higher low lunge. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, swooping right into up dog. Exhaling into down dog. Curl those toes back under. Inhaling into lunge. You can keep the hands down or bring them up. Exhaling, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lifting the head, lifting the heart, all the way up into our mountain. Let's bring the hands in front of the heart. Let's take a little pratyahara break. Diving into the aliveness. And if you want to come down, I feel really guided to just come down to a seated position. Just taking a few breaths in silence as you bring all the awareness inside, into the body, into this inner dynamic energy field. You feel the heart beating. And gently and kindly open your eyes. A nice little pratyahara break. We're going to be doing some samadhi breaks too as we go through. And let's come down to the floor. We're going to move into releases and samadhi. So moving into our hula, finding those hips and feeling that sacrum flat on the earth. Maybe just make some gentle little swivels with the hips to begin. And then making that a little bigger and a little bigger as you feel one hip come down, the other comes up. Nice, slow, repetitive movements, swiveling these hips. Everything's just laying on our back. We're not lifting up. One hip is reaching up towards the ribs and armpit. The other's dropping down towards the heel. Swiveling these hips. Keeping the breath flowing in the belly. And coming back to center, we move into hip pointers. So my left butt cheek is rooted into the earth, and I'm just going to point that right hip up diagonally towards the heavens. So the right butt cheek is going to come up just a little bit. And then moving to the other side, rooting the right hip and butt cheek into the earth as I lift and point that left hip. Little slight lift on the left. Adding a little twist. We're just releasing and relaxing the lower back for Savasana. It's gentle movements. And one more time on each side. Slowing down, coming even deeper into the body. And back to neutral. We'll move into cat, cow, laying down. So first let's move into cat as you feel the small of your back press into the earth, tailbone tucks under, flexing the spine. And then moving into your cow as you arch that back up off the earth. May or not, back may still be resting on the earth depending on your anatomy, but the spine is arching up, tailbone is sticking out, and back into your cat. So feeling that flexion and extension of the spine. Enjoying the sensations deeply in your own process, keeping the breath flowing. And coming back to center. We're going to keep the knees up, the feet are on the mat, and we're just going to walk them further and further apart. No longer hip width apart. That could bring them all the way out to the wide edges of your mat. Just nice and wide if you're right on the earth. And we're going to drop one knee at a time into the center. Releasing those hips a little bit and bringing in some stretch. Noticing sensation, basking in these final sensations. Honoring this body temple. One more time on either side. And coming back to center. Walking those feet back hip width apart. And we're going to actually bring them all the way together to touch each other. Dropping both knees and legs over to one side. Going to lift this top leg up. And bringing that all the way over to the other side. You might want to take a little pause here and then allow the bottom leg to come over, or it can just stay a flow. And once the legs are back over to the other side, lifting the top leg and knee, bringing it all the way over. Maybe taking a pause here, noticing those beautiful sensations, and bringing the lower knee back over. And continuing at your own pace, your own rhythm, keeping the breath flowing. One more time on each side. And then coming back to neutral, both knees up. And let's bring those knees into the chest. And a nice gentle rock. Final releasing and relaxing. If there's anything else you need to do with the body that you didn't do, this is the time to maybe stretch or do that last little pose. Do that. Baddha Konasana, Supta Baddha Konasana. And then getting ready for your Savasana. Remembering you can get some socks on. You can put a blanket on, a sweatshirt, put a cushion under your knees, making yourself nice and comfortable. I like to have the palms up and hands away from the body, the feet a little spread apart with the feet out. Receptive pose, allowing the body to Release and relax all tension, letting go, letting the muscles relax, letting the body become a little more heavy, becoming aware of the front of the body, the back of the body, the right side, bringing your awareness to the right side of the body and the left side of the body. The upper half of your body and the lower half. Bringing your awareness to the entire body, 360 degrees. Every finger, every toe, the sacred body temple. Sinking deep. And we will rest in a few moments of silence as you integrate the practice, body, mind, and spirit. Taking a nice deep breath into the belly. Just slowly begin to come back. Wiggling the fingers and the toes. Stretching out the arms and legs. Maybe a yawn. And when you're ready, coming over to one side or the other. And coming up to a seated position. We're going to move into our 10-minute mindfulness meditation. You can find your anchor, your single point of focus, whether it's to bask in that pratyahara, to focus on the breath, a mantra. You may want to use listening, just listening to the sounds around us. Finding your anchor and sticking with that as we keep our single point of focus for our 10-minute meditation. If thought comes in, just kindly and gently guide your mind back to its anchor. Single point of focus. Dharana in the 8 limbs. All your undivided attention on your anchor. Maintaining that concentration, single point of focus, dharana. Mind wanders away from your anchor. Just kindly bring it back to your single point of focus. Alert. One more minute of focused concentration, mindfulness meditation. And releasing that focus, allowing the mind to just rest in meditation, dhyana, as we go back and scan the body, noticing the physical body first, noticing where our body's connected to the earth, acknowledging that support of the earth. our body is in time and space, how it's feeling. And diving in now to Pratyahara, the inner being, and basking in that aliveness, that blissful nectar. And basking in that Manamaya kosha, the emotional body, feeling whatever is arising fully, the emotional field. And taking a moment to honor all aspects of the self, becoming one, yoga to yoke, body, soul, the spirit, breath, emotions, the mind, body, and spirit. Bringing yourself back to that intention you set at the beginning of practice. And we'll conclude with a namaste. I honor the place in you in which the entire universe dwells. I honor the place in you which is of love, light, truth, and peace. When you are in that place in you, and I am in that place in me, we are one. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for Ecstatic Yoga, Surya Namaskara, Sun Salutation, with modifications and variations. Wishing you a most beautiful and most blessed day.